So hi guys, I decided to make another video, and this one is a video of me getting ready to do a braid out on freshly shampooed hair. So I started this video in the middle of me oiling my scalp. I usually oil my scalp after my shampoo. The water is the true moisturizer, the oil is the sealant. So it's good to oil your scalp after it is nice and damp. And I think I've made a previous video just telling you all, if you're about to oil your scalp, go ahead and spray it, dampen it first, and then oil it. It just works much better that way. So as you can see, I am in much need of a retie, and I was really tired of looking fuzzy. And a braid out really helps to, I guess, maybe tame the new growth, make it lay a little flatter. So that's what I'm doing, because I still am about another week or so out before I'll have time to retie my own hair. So if you don't really know me, a little bit about me is I started my locks, I think I started April 27th of 2018, and I finished May 1st. I started my locks with 2-strand twist. So it's almost 3 years. May 1st will be 3 years for me. I maintain by interlocking with a 4-point rotation, which is what I do with all of my clients basically. So that's how I start and maintain locks. So as you can see, I've oiled my scalp, I've rubbed it in really good on my scalp, and now I'm sectioning it off and I am braiding it back. It's a traditional cornrow. I over braid. Some people under braid. I really haven't paid attention to the different pattern that an under braid makes versus a over braid. I'm gonna have to check that out. I can under braid, but it's a very slow process for me because it's not my natural, the natural way that I braid hair. I naturally over braid. Under braid, and really takes some thought. So now I'm parting my hair down the middle. I try to make sure all of my clients have a middle part that is for styling purposes only. If you decide you want to do 2 cornrows, 2 pigtails, or some type of style that will look better with a middle part, I do try to give everybody a middle part. I do have some clients where I don't. Most of the time it's due to maybe some thinning or something in the center of their head, and we don't want to leave that open and exposed. So that's the only time where I may not do a middle part. So like I said, just traditional cornrows to the back. I braid my hair all the way out to the tips. Now that may be a problem for some people who are in the early stages of their locks, because once you braid it all the way down to the tip, it really does take some time to unbraid. And if your locks are new, you could run the risk of unraveling your locks, and whether that be coils, interlocks, 2-strand twist, or braids. If your locks are fresh, you really could do a little bit of damage. So I suggest, if your locks are less than 9 months, maybe braid until you get about 1 inch down and then twist them together, just so you won't have so much to take down and run the risk of unraveling any locks. But my locks are mature, and I can braid them all the way out to the end and not have that much difficulty taking them down. You will see during the takedown that one of the braids, it takes me a little bit longer to start unbraiding it, because I really did probably braid it a little too tight, but it didn't do any damage to my locks because they're mature. But if you run into that problem with locks that are not mature, you really can unravel quite a few locks trying to take them down. So yeah, just braiding it down. Just to let you know, I will almost always do a twist out instead of a braid out. But because I haven't done a braid out since I was about maybe 9 months into my lock journey, I thought now would be a fun time to do a braid out. I love the flowy look of the twist out, and I know I've posted a video previously of a twist out, and I love that look. But I wanted to see what I could get with a braid out. So this is literally the first time I've braided my hair out since I was 9 months in. My new growth, I have about 1 inch of new growth, maybe a little bit more in some places. It was difficult. I know the video, it doesn't look like it's that difficult. It helps if your hair is shampooed and oiled to separate the locks that have started to marry each other. And you all know what I'm talking about when they start to stick together. It's really hard to separate your hair out to do a twist out or braid out or even bantu knots. But having it damp and oiled made it a little bit easier. But my hands were kind of getting caught in the new growth. So if you decide to do this around the time where you have a lot of new growth, just pay attention to that. That could really cause some problems. Well, it could hurt. I mean, the braid out will still be fine, but all that popping and snapping could hurt. So now I'm getting ready to put on a slap cap, the Grace Elie, I think that's how her name is pronounced. My sister-in-law Tiffany gave me that slap cap for Christmas a few years ago before I even started my locks, and I flipped it around because the side with the tag, I like to kind of tuck, you see how I'm tucking now, I like to kind of tuck my slap cap, so that's why I turned it around. So this is about a full 24 hours later. I considered sleeping on it for another night, but y'all, my head was hurting. I hardly ever have anything constrictive on my hair or any constrictive stylings. So my head was really, really tight. And I was wondering why I was aggravated. And I'm like, okay, I gotta take this down. I cannot make it another night. I must take it down. But I was worried that it wasn't all the way dry. One thing you can do to ensure that your hair dries, try not to do it right before bed. So I did this around 4 p.m. the previous day, and I left it. I put the cap on just to kind of show that I usually put a slap cap on if I'm gonna sleep with semi-damp hair. But I took it off right after the video, and I let my hair air dry. I did some things around the house, cooked, cleaned, spent time with my kids, all while my hair was out. And then this morning, I also had it uncovered so it could get as much air as possible to continue to air dry, because a lot of times when your locks have gotten really thick and long, the centermost part will be damp. And if it's damp, you already know your twist out, braid out, whatever, it's just gonna flop. But I was surprised that my hair was pretty much dry. In the center and those two braids in the middle, they were just the tiniest bit damp. Just, I mean, the tiniest bit. So it didn't cause any problems with the texture. And I am absolutely loving the way it was turning out. I was surprised that it still had so much body. In the past, when I've done braid outs in the early stages, it would be really flat, and I don't like that flat look. I like the full look. I know that I'm gonna have the flat look pretty soon when I do my retie, and you all know that the retie is wonderful and glorious, but a lot of times it leaves your hair looking pretty flat for a few weeks. So I was surprised with the body that I got from the braid out. I purposely only did 4 braids because if I had done more, I was thinking the crinkles may have been smaller, and I didn't want them smaller because in my mind I'm thinking if they're smaller, they're gonna be tighter and my hair is gonna be flatter, and I wanted to have a good bit of body. And as you can see, the body is all there. I'm able to run my fingers through my hair a lot easier than before, even though it's not the easiest because those roots are still growing out. The braid out really did its job as for taming my new growth, making my hair more manageable. And it also, even though it's crinkly and curly, it hangs a lot better. It hangs longer and heavier. So I am so pleased. My head feels great. You can see I'm starting to smile a little bit because I was looking a little my mouth was a little downturned when I was taking those braids down, but y'all, I had a headache out of this world. But my head feels free. My curls are perfect. I'm in love with it. So try this out when you're in need of a retie in the future. It works out perfectly.